All proceeds from this series will go to Samaritans. Donation link in the description. Hey there, my name's Ruin and welcome back to the Fazlore Podcast. Today I'm here with James.
Hello.
And today we'll be covering FNAF 6 Pizzeria Simulator. What was Pizzeria Simulator? So, how would you describe Pizzeria Simulator? If I cornered you in a room and said, describe this game, how would you do it?
Probably one of the more memorable experiences I've ever had with a Five Nights at Freddy's thing. Because I was not paying attention to this release at all when it first came out because it was, not advertised as anything. So all of a sudden I'm getting these notifications from Daco and other people like, oh, it's secretly FNAF 6. And I was not home at the time and I ran home.
Oh my gosh.
Download.
Oh, I remember that because it came out of the blue and obviously we had the little fake game at the start is like, what is this? It's a whole troll game. And then you see MatPat's GT Live that was meant to be 20 minutes for this silly game was 2 hours and that was the immediate, oh, this is a big game. That's a really, I don't know, I feel like as a game as well, it was very different from what we were used to. It's far from the just sitting in your office. It had so much variety in it, especially when you first come in and you see Scrap Baby sitting opposite you. That is so freaky. I don't know how you felt about that, but that was, oh.
Those renders of the interview kind of sections are probably some of the most unique and kind of unsettling out of anything from the the original run of games, just because they're right there in front of you.
Oh yeah.
And lighting and atmosphere and everything is really strong in those sections. Was probably besides the office section, which I know is not the most popular with a lot of people from what I've seen. That section is really a strong point.
Absolutely, especially Funtime Freddy, the way he kind of I don't know, his animations are the creepiest because he kind of shuffles towards you, actually leans towards you. And when you first get in, you have no idea what to do. You just know he's moving towards you, you want to save money. But, oh, it was a creepy mechanic. I feel like... Yeah, you go.
I think, probably my favorite, render is actually, Scrap Trap in the interview section specifically.
Yeah, he was freaky. I mean, I will say though, I do love when you have the little one that says, I'm already inside. I don't know who that was. Thinking back, I don't actually know who that was in reference to. But when you go to that scene and know that no matter what, someone's in there with you, you can't do anything about it, that was so freaky.
I believe that pulls up for any time that any of the animatronics sneak in. So if you buy Lefty first, or if you buy a high-risk item, then they would have sneaked in already.
Oh, I did not know that.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of the more technical side of the game, which is weird. So I love the lore and stuff, but I also like just playing the games. And so I've kind of made it a challenge of myself to go through and try to, beat them all the 20 modes and stuff. And I've gotten most of them. But FNAF 6 is the one where I try to understand the gameplay loop, and to this day, I'm still not entirely clear what I'm supposed to do half the time, and that makes it a lot more fun than a lot of the other games on replay.
I mean, we were kind of talking about how it's similar in FNAF 2, because in the final night, the 1020 mode or whatever it is so much significantly harder than the other nights because there's such different patterns. Everything has completely changed. It's kind of that kind of similar idea of you have to memorize everything, you have to keep everything, locked in there. You have to know what to do with each animatronic, and especially having all of them coming for you at once is really overwhelming. Because you kind of have to, you have to do your job, but you also have all these animatronics you have to constantly be listening, which was, I haven't attempted it myself, but I think I would very much struggle with it.
The 20 mode or the, Saturday?
The for FNAF 2 or for 6?
Yeah, 2 or you're talking about FNAF 2 or 6 as far as not attempting it.
Oh yeah, either of them. I confession, I haven't actually played most of the games because I kind of grew up watching them, but I haven't, other than like playing unblocked games at school for FNAF 2, I haven't really played most of the games in general. But I feel like because there's such a community for FNAF, you don't necessarily have to. But I will say playing Secret of the Mimic was a whole experience. I'm glad I did.
Yeah, that was good. No, with the gameplay for FNAF 6, I appreciate it more every time I go back because it's obviously supposed to be the capstone to the original Click Team Scott era of games of sorts, and kind of trying to wrap up that storyline to allow us to move on to where we are now to get things like Secret of the Mimic. But it's also acting as a sequel to Sister Location, and I think that kind of gets forgotten sometimes.
Yeah.
It's it's not just the end of the series, it is also continuing this phase 2 era of Scott's original story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we'll probably get into that some more when we get into the lore topics.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's a big thing that I've been talking about before as well, with obviously some of the other co-hosts as well, is how the continuity is definitely much more clear in the first 6 games. Like how, for example, in FNAF 2, the protagonist was probably originally the killer from the first game because that's how it made sense, narratively at the time. And obviously that changes after, but yeah. What was the lore at the time? Do you have a favorite theory that was going around at the time for that kind of era of the game when it was just FNAF 6 had come out?
When it just came out at the time. Gosh, I'm not sure because I think really besides Elephant in the Room, Midnight Motorist, which we still debate.
No idea what that is.
Yeah, besides Midnight Motorist, everything in the game, we got 80% of the way there as far as lore confirmations and things like that. And then there is Molten MCI and Midnight Motorist, and then Molten MCI kind of got explained away a few months later with Fourth Closet.
Yeah, what was the kind of Molten MCI thing? Because I remember I hear it a lot, but I don't really understand it. Everyone's in Freddy, or?
Well, the kind of the basic thing, and I'm gonna get absolutely flamed if I describe this wrong. So, allow me a second to collect my thoughts here. Basically, yeah, the idea is William took the original endoskeletons in from Follow Me, or from the FNAF 1 gang at some point, and moved those souls into the Fun Times to power them.
Oh.
And so that kind of gets somewhat teased by Henry in one of the secret endings. You have to buy something called Egg Baby. You can probably put it on screen.
Oh yeah, Egg Baby.
you have to buy that, and then play a secret message from Henry, and he'll say, "Oh yeah, William. Well, not William, but he lured them all back. It was some kind of trap. Again, he tricked them again," and it's basically describing what we see in FNAF 3's Follow Me minigames.
Oh, I see.
And then later in Fourth Closet, they have William, with the help of Circus Baby, she collects the old animatronics from a junkyard, and William melts down their metal and is extracting it and putting it into his Funtime animatronics.
Oh, okay. So, do we know how canon that is? Because we did have that really weird minigame of him breaking down all the animatronics, and then we never really saw what happened to them. So I suppose it does make sense that it was in the Fun Times.
Yeah, that's the thing. We don't know why he's breaking them down, but something that the community has pointed out is that there's no endoskeletons when he rips them apart in the minigame.
Oh.
I don't know if that's exactly strong evidence, just because it's 8-bit minigames, and a lot of the time these were made to just get a general point across. I think the one time with these minigames, and it's in this game that it's purposely vague and trying to not tell us too much, is the security puppet minigame.
Yes.
And it's because of how you have color in the wristbands and like very small things, but besides that, the minigame is pretty monochromatic. It's like just it's a lot of grays and stuff. And I think it's trying to hide, if you have a specific color for this building, maybe you will try to connect it to another building, like maybe the one in FNAF 4, that crying child's going through.
Yeah, I mean, I agree because, like, I don't know, because we were talking in the FNAF 2 one about how the whole phone guy being purple guy thing was purely because the pixels look odd, and it probably was just his hand. Like, realistically, it probably was just his hand. But that's the slight thing, is it's kind of hard to tell. Because even though we don't know why William's broken down these animatronics, it doesn't make sense for them not to have the endoskeletons because they kind of walked over there. So in theory, they have to have that endo. But yeah, it's just a bit of an odd one. But I do agree about the puppet one. I love the puppet money game. It's such a fun one of, like, clearly telling us lore. I think it's probably the most lore we've gotten out of a minigame because it was just so clear of, hi, this child was locked outside, puppet died next to them, possessed the puppet.
That was probably like the biggest thing to come out of the game as far as confirmation and clarifying things, is explaining who the puppet is and what the connection is to Freddy's in general. And it was also the first time in this like series, like now with Secret of the Mimic, we have the introduction of Edwin and Fiona and David and stuff. But FNAF 6 is, their sister location had the whole Mr. Afton thing at the very beginning of the game. But this game is the first one to really fold in the book characters in a meaningful way.
Yeah, kind of like combine them, because at the time there was so much discussion if the books are canon. Like, it's a discussion to this day, actually, like how far the books are canon, if they are canon, how much of it can we take as canon, kind of thing. So it was very much a big thing. Yeah.
And I guess my perspective on that one specifically is just original trilogy, no, not canon. Take things from it, sure. Names, general events, sure.
Yeah.
But the new books, I'm honestly at the point of, you can say it's canon until something in the game says it isn't canon, like Secret of the Mimic.
Yeah, like Secret of the Mimic was definitely changing the Mimic lore. I kind of like keeping that kind of theme though, because as you said, the original trilogy was never canon, but we take the concepts of Remnant, that's where we got William Afton's name, Charlie, Henry, where we got all their names from. So that was like a big... Yeah, it's very... I feel like I'm less confident in the books now that it feels almost like some more of the novels are getting a bit money grabbing, to the point that they're not really serving much of a purpose other than, like, especially the graphic novels, when they're not really up to par as FNAF has been in the past. But ones like the Mimic and the Storyteller Tree, I do like, because I feel like it does feed something into the narrative, especially, for example, the Mimic 1 AI program that then ends up being infecting the security breach.
We're getting so off topic
Yeah.
for FNAF 6, but I have to say, as someone who likes to try to collect everything, like FNAF book-wise, I have all the graphic novels in physical collection, and I just looked at them the other day, and I just said, I don't want these, and I'm donating them to a thrift store the next chance I get. They're sitting in a box right now.
My gosh. Yeah, they're just... I don't know.
And also if I'm using them in, like, videos and stuff, it's better to have the digital copy at this point anyway.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just something... I don't know what happened with the graphic novels. Like, I thought maybe it was fixed, because obviously they were really inaccurate in the past, but now currently they are better. But then out comes Old Man Edwin, that was really odd. And then you had, like, Edwin and Fiona as well, and they looked nothing like you'd expect them to look. It was really odd. Yeah.
Did you see that book might be cancelled? Just straight up not. It just might
not
be canceled
released
at this point.
Oh my gosh.
It didn't release. Those were like the leaked images, but it's not available to buy right now. It's.
I'm
it
not
was
surprised.
removed from like Scholastic and stuff.
Yeah, there was just so much carelessness and so much there's lack of consistency across, even like the same character did not look the same ever. It was really, not great. Anyway.
I still recommend Fourth Closet.
Oh god, Fourth Closet. Yeah, returning to FNAF 2 theories after our sidetrack. That was quite fun though. So there was another theory...
FNAF 2.
In FNAF 2. Oh, not FNAF 2. FNAF 6. Oh lord. Too sidetracked.
We're so far off track, we're in the wrong game.
We're in the wrong universe now. So there was a theory going around at the time that the puppet was used to bait the other Mantronics and guide them again into the Pizzaplex, but not Pizzaplex. Oh god.
Into the restaurant, the pizza.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one. But I feel like that theory never had much basis because, it didn't take long to figure out that Lefty was inside the puppet. That was never something that was hard to kind of figure out. So I feel like that theory was always like kind of grabbing at loose straws. But I don't know. What did you think of that one? Have you heard of that one before?
I had not, but I just off like hearing it immediately, I would say maybe, but like reversed, because there's this big gap going from like FNAF 2 and then chronologically 2, 1, and I say sister locations after 1 and then 3, where it's where is the puppet? And nobody ever tries to like answer that, but
she's just gone.
The puppet I've always viewed as like it's either protecting the animatronics or going after William to some extent. So I would say, and also Lefty's the last one to show up at the restaurant.
Yeah, that very much so. I mean, because Lefty was controlled as well. It wasn't like of the own accord. Like in the blueprints, Lefty was built as a trap by Henry. Although I will point out, something we can touch on more later, is that we don't actually see Lefty get burnt in the ending. Everyone else does, but not Lefty, which is an odd one.
Yeah. I mean, that might have been trying to leave it open for mystery as far as like, oh, what is Lefty? Because talking about the security puppet minigame again, that's pretty transparent and like clear. Hey, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
But even if you do miss that minigame, you're still given that information in Henry's like final speech because you have the images of the game flash. So that's kind of like this is so important. Even if you miss that minigame, I have to tell you this.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing about that game was it was really hard. It's really hard to get like the ending that you need to get the really like overall ending, but it's such a rewarding one compared to the other games. Like sure, they're semi-rewarding, but the amount of lore drop, that speech is still so solid even after being like how many years it's been. It's still really famous in video game history.
I mean, it's used by like non-FNAF fans for random TikTok edits that have nothing to do with
the series. Literally. And the Michael, don't leave me here.
Yeah. FNAF has transcended this, like, it's gone beyond just like the fan base and the lore theorists and people. It's awesome to see. It
really is. It's really cool. I think that very much was Scott's peak. I think was having that moment of pulling everything together, making it consistent, giving everyone the answers when he's hidden them for so long was such a powerful moment. And even the speech itself, like the darkest pit of hell, that was just, that was so good.
Or as MapHat would say, HE double hockey sticks.
That's just a theory, a game theory.
Thanks for watching.
So obviously another big
thing. This is going to be wonderful.
Oh yeah, I'm going to clip this everywhere.
My PNG is me doing the MapHat pose, so this is gonna be so great in context.
Yeah. So the other theory going on as well was that it would be the end of the game completely, and obviously it wasn't, but it very much did feel like it, and almost I feel like it should have been. Although I'm personally a big fan of the Mimic games. I feel like it probably was the end of that story. Like, there was some distrust considering FNAF 4 was meant to be the final chapter, and so was 3, I think, and so was this location. So it's kind of like, I don't know, but it had like quite an air of finality, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, respectfully, I think Scott's insane if he ever thought Sister Location would be the last game. And I would... No. But,
yeah, it would have been an odd place.
As far as 6 being the final game, it does leave it at a really nice place if you've been invested, like we all were, or I was anyway. I joined the fan base right at the release of FNAF 2. I saw someone playing it on my middle school bus on their phone. I was like, oh, what's that? And I looked it up and found Markiplier and, 10 years later, here I am. But I think FNAF 6 is a really good wrap up for the original story of the Afton family, and does fold in Henry at the end there and kind of give some humanity to the story, because up to 4 it really had been just kind of like, oh, spooky mystery, and then Sister Location and 6 kind of retroactively make the previous games have more importance, like narratively.
Yeah.
As far as like an actual proper family drama narrative.
Yeah. I mean, leading on from that point though, there was a theory at the time that I think has probably become more canon, but again, we'll discuss that later. But the idea of that Henry wasn't completely innocent in all this, because as he was saying, the monster I helped build, obviously he didn't know about the murders, but yeah, I don't know, based on the evidence from FNAF 1 that someone was apprehended but not, like, sentenced for it, it very much feels like Henry had an idea, especially, again, with Edwin's costume manner, knowing that Henry definitely played a part in it. I think it was definitely setting up the concept that Henry wasn't a good guy. Like, everyone was really praising him, but at the end of the day, he definitely was a bystander in a lot of what happened and probably played a bit of a part.
Yeah, it's what's the term exactly? It's like probable deniability, negligence.
Oh,
He just
yes.
like, oh, where it's like he might be aware of it, but he doesn't want to believe it, and he's getting success from it to a point. So he's like, you know what, it's fine. And then I think a shoe probably drops when Charlie dies, and that's kind of his like, okay, I don't know what to do, and he might dip out of the series for a while.
Yeah. I mean, because as well, we don't know how much evidence Henry had, but I believe there was a chance that Henry did have evidence, although William has already been acquitted. I don't know if legally that you can't try and resentence someone, but we can kind of tell, especially in like games like FNAF 2, Henry took the steps to stop William getting in. It very much felt like he was putting in that like criminal database, for example. It very much felt like he was making those steps. He wasn't going after William. He wasn't stopping William, but he was making the steps to stop it happening again, which is obviously like it's kind of iffy, because even though he is making the steps to improve, he's not getting the root cause. And I think a lot more evil stuff, especially to do with Michael, and wouldn't have happened if, you know, Henry had somehow called William out for it, and something along those lines.
Yeah, there's almost a thing with him where it's like he's more of a pushover.
No, I completely agree. He very much was, because I almost feel like as well, again, now knowing about Edwin and stuff, that he definitely knew he had a part in it, so he might have even withheld stuff because he didn't want to get himself in trouble, until he later realised, I should have done something sooner, and that's what led to FNAF 6. But yeah, at the time, it was suspicious, but there was nothing specifically pinpointing Henry, but it was off.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's a less cool version of Dokes being suspicious of Dexter. I don't know if you've seen Dexter, but...
I watched it, like, a few episodes when I was younger. I get what you mean. I get yeah. I'd say the other two big ones, I'd say, for FNAF 6, and the final two big ones are that... Actually, no, there was three. There's two big ones, but there was a really odd one going around that Charlie was actually William's daughter somehow. I don't know where that one came from, but I don't know. It was an odd one.
I don't know if this is the series to have. I mean, this is the series that has, you know, robot children, but I for some reason I don't know about infidelity. I don't know if that seems like almost a step too far for FNAF for some reason.
Yeah, I mean,
just like as a story point, it feels weird. Because like with robot kids and that kind of thing, that's still the sci-fi kind of supernatural aspect of the series, just like taken to another level. That, like, I don't know. It's it just feels like a weird thing. I mean, we'll get into it here in a second, but I think even William being an alcoholic is, in like Midnight Motorist, for example, is a bit of a like, okay. Is he an alcoholic? I don't know. I maybe kind of view it as just like he got drunk on this one night and said, screw it. That leads to the first murder.
Charlie.
And then he's like, okay, cool. I'm in. Let's go.
I mean, I feel like the only other place where we have heard of infidelity is Sister Location. But when I think back,
The
it
baby,
totally
eh?
could have been about introducing the mum to the animatronic baby or something. Like, I could see it being that. And I think there definitely is a big hole somewhere. Unless it was literally that maybe after baby died and possessed, William was like, look, our daughter's here. And the wife was like, oh, no, that's not my baby, and left. But I definitely feel like there is something missing. To this day, I don't know what it was. I know the common idea is that Michael might have been stolen or something. But
That,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, like, I guess we'll see if, Garrett is alive in the second movie as an adult or something.
Oh yeah.
The secret child. Now, it is interesting because with FNAF 6, it introduces a lot, but it's hard to talk about on its own because a lot of it is clarifying everything else in the series.
Yeah.
With Sister Location, I mean, I guess, what is your currently believed, like, early death order? Crying Child, Charlie, Elizabeth, the MCI.
I genuinely don't know, because the more I think about it, the more my head kind of starts that, because it definitely feels like at this moment of time, Charlie was first. No, Crying Child was first, and then it was Charlie, and then it was the MCI. I feel like that was the order at the time. But obviously, with Help Wanted, it's starting to change that. Like, again, we'll get into that more in the next segment, but it very much feels like they're trying to shift it over.
Yeah, I mean, whenever we delve more into the Midnight Motorist, I have a pretty strong belief that the order is Crying Child, then Elizabeth. Crying Child, then Charlie, then Elizabeth, then the MCI.
Yeah. I feel like I agree with that. Actually, we can get into Midnight Motorist as well, because that was one of the 2 points. It was that and Fruity Maze. But yeah, I'd say Midnight Motorist. It's such an odd one, because I do think that it's very clear William was drunk that night. Whether he was an alcoholic or not, I think he definitely was drunk. He definitely hit Charlie, and that was like an accidental killing. But that might even be what caused him to see, like, maybe when Charlie possessed the puppet, that might have been that I can put you back together, because he's seen the person come to life. He's seen it happen.
Oh, do you believe that William runs over Charlie?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the belief of the hit and run, because if Midnight Motorist is directly after, it does probably feel like William has driven past. Even like in the FNAF 6 puppet minigame, it does look like there's a road there, and he doesn't look like, you can't see much injury, although again it's a minigame, so it's limited. But I do believe that he was drunk, he hit her on the way out, and drove home.
My only counterpoint to that is the FNAF 2 minigame, where he actively steps out of the car, then the body turns into the gray ghost, and then he drives off.
That's a very good point. But I feel like there is.
I mean, but you have merit, because this minigame is kind of changing things a bit, because now he is a she. So, I mean, proud gender transition. Good job.
Slay. In the moments of dying. But I definitely feel like there is a discrepancy in that. I feel like, as you said earlier, the FNAF 2 minigame might have been more symbolic, because we actually know that in FNAF 6, we now know that the child actually walked away a bit, potentially. Might have actually gone around the corner, because we find the body around the side. Although that could just be William taking the body round. But I feel like the more games we get, the more debatable it is how it happened, whether it was an actual stabbing or whether the purple guy just appearing there is meant to be symbolic, and what the animatronic saw, for example.
Midnight Motorist, good gosh. Where do I even begin here? I guess we can. Why don't we talk about the main goal is potentially Susie's dog thing, and then we can transition back to Midnight Motorist.
Yeah, because Susie's dog is quite a short. I think Susie's dog being Mango, I'm fully of the belief of that, because it's very much, or at least was Lord with her dog. Like, that's very clearly Susie. The color theme, even just having the blonde Chica colored hair, is very much like a overarching symbolism. I feel like Fruity Maze is definitely like showing Springtrap being like, oh hey, your dog is there, to probably kill the dog, and just like, oh, come with me. I feel like that's very definitely what happened there.
Yeah, that is possible. I think the movie made it, like, in the movie continuity, and especially since there is its own mangle now, of like, the cupcake is totally an animal, right?
Yeah,
Like
I can see that.
um, and I think that it's weird because you also got in Secret of the Mimic all those cupcakes that for some reason can kill you.
Yeah, they're a bit odd.
So maybe that's just been in the programming since the beginning because I'm pretty sure those don't have little mimics inside them.
Loads of tiny little mimics. Who knows? We did see the tiny little bots earlier on. They were so weird.
Yeah, later on with the like the boxy boo looking ones.
Yeah. But yeah, I think definitely, again, like speaking specifically at the time of what we understood, it very much felt like this was meant to be just how William took a child, which is odd. But also, if we are along the lines of Chica was the first to die out of the 5 MCI or 4 MCI, then it was kind of saying, look, Puppet died, here's the Puppet's death, and then it was Chica, here's how Chica died. The other ones we know were lured by the Golden Bunny, so yeah.
Yeah, it's like at the time looking at that, I mean, I think a lot of people, it was pretty split, honestly, from what I mean, Matt Pat was the one to be like, okay, this is the Aftons. And then whoever the runaway is, I forget where he ended up landing on that one. I think he kind of went with the crying child runaway explanation. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Oh no, you're right. I still feel like that's probably the most likely answer. I mean, considering that there is someone on the sofa and it's probably not the mum, it's very likely Michael. But yeah. I mean, if we're looking in on the time as well, we're looking in at the time the game was released. So when it was out, if we're not looking at the future, we're only looking at the evidence we currently had at the time. What do you think Midnight Motorist was?
At the time? At the time, I was pretty, so I started off at that time, crying child runaway, Michael, chair, William comes home. But I've always had this issue where I could never properly explain where is the crying child running off to, what exactly would be the mound that's satisfying enough, and the footprints. Because I felt that the footprints would make a lot of sense for William, and so eventually, once I started, my own channel, I transitioned to the whole, this is an MCI kidnapping, probably Gabriel.
Yeah.
And then I've switched since then, but we can talk about, what we think about now in a little bit.
Yeah. I think it was such a difficult one because that mound is such a big topic of debate. The mound, because there was theories it was Susie's dog. There was theories that there's the ongoing idea that it might have been crying child's body was what was in the box and then buried there. It could have been Chica's body, Susie's body, because she was like, oh, here's my dog, get killed, kind of thing. It was such an odd one at the time because I feel like we should be able to piece it together for what, because obviously it might have changed meaning with time, but at the time it feels like there should have been enough clues to piece it together based on what the game was, but it's just really hard, I'd say.
That's really my thing. Is like my philosophy on this was, if this is the Aftons, the chairperson has to be Michael. That has to be that. There's no other reason it wouldn't be. And then if it's not the Aftons, then okay, anything can kind of work here. It could be hand waved, but I don't like hand waving things.
Yeah, it's a bit. I think the paw prints is the biggest thing, because something that we've been discussing as we describe the games, again, I told you like how in FNAF 2 we were talking about how probably at the time the protagonist of FNAF 2 was the FNAF 1 killer, but obviously that got retcon, or not retcon, but maybe retcon changed with time. So that's the big thing of like, what was Midnight Motorist then? Because I feel like it definitely was William being drunk and getting that first kill. I think that's definitely what we're meant to take from that. That's just, we're meant to see that. But it's the grave, which could be Elizabeth potentially, but the grave and the paw prints outside the window is so odd.
Yeah, Elizabeth being the grave was actually a theory I landed on for my own Midnight Motorist video. I immediately changed my mind in a follow-up video, but that's the FNAF theory way.
Things always change. I feel like, yeah, if Scott was trying to go, because at this point we now no longer have the girls' bedroom. It's a different house to the one from FNAF 4, so it does make sense that potentially, like, it kind of makes a narrative overall. The probably baby died. Elizabeth died, went into baby. The whole that's not my baby. The wife left. They had to move house, and Elizabeth's body was buried there. I feel like that does make sense, like timeline-wise at the time. I don't know if that's what Scott was trying to tell us, but it does make sense.
Do we want to use this to transition to what we think now?
Let's discuss the paw prints, and then I think it'll be a good transition.
Okay. Yeah, I think the prints, because of the Scrap Trap redesign, I felt that was pretty one-to-one. Okay, footprints are the Afton, like, spring Bonnie suit.
Yeah.
But then you do have the issue of the rain, and that, like, I was able to really make myself believe this was an MCI related thing because Susie's dog, okay, let's say Susie's dog is hit. What would be the mound off the side of the road? Well, in Freddy Maze, John FNAF pointed this out in a recent video. The mound would be Susie's dog because in Freddy Maze you have the yellow rabbit burrowing in the ground.
That's a good point.
He said that. He said that. I was like, yes, somebody else finally mentions it. And so I was able to use that to kind of make myself believe, okay, this is MCI, and then so William would bury the dog here, and then there's a house nearby, have a suit, da-da-da-da-da, there you go.
I definitely think that is entirely possible. I think that is potentially what it was at the time, because FNAF 6 was definitely trying to get us to focus on Chica's or Susie's death for what reason, probably because she was the first. But I could see that being a thing as well. Like, even it's possible Charlie and then Susie's dog died on the same day. If he was drunk and in a fit of rage, it's seeable, I guess. Although the years are different, but at the time, it definitely was feasible.
It's obvious William just jumped into a ball pit, you know. It's like, all right, cool. Let's jump forward 2 years.
Oh, totally. That's how he did all the MCI. Just like, oh, stab, jump through. Oh, stab, jump through. Yep.
Yep. There you go. We solved it.
FNAF lore solved. Ugh, that's the thumbnail now. We solved FNAF. But yeah, I think you're right. It's a good time to transition into the next bit. So, what do you... Oh, actually, first. So, what do you think definitively the lore was at the time? Like, a whole narrative. What do you think it was? Like, in summary.
The whole narrative at the time for FNAF 6.
Yeah, kind of like, what do you think we were being told? Like, the storyline.
Yeah, I think the general story at the time was that William and Henry were the original founders. William kills Charlie. Henry goes MIA for whatever reason. Does not unalive himself for the YouTube censors. But
yeah.
Basically the original 4 games kind of play out. I mean, with FNAF 4 being not test chamber dreams at the time. At the time, I think I was. At the time, I hadn't even thought about Michael being the like the dreamer at the time. I was still like crying child, just having nightmares.
I'm forever salty about that.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, it makes a lot of sense. 4 games, 1 story, same protagonist.
But I still feel like it was a better narrative to have the crying child be the FNAF 4 victim, because I genuinely think Dream Theory was a thing at the time, and obviously it wasn't anymore, but I feel like... I don't know why the newer games would change it, but yeah.
Yeah, and I also placed Elizabeth's death pretty early. I think at the time I actually had it placed, like, first. Just because there was no Elizabeth in the Midnight Motorist house.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it definitely was I think Elizabeth was meant to be early on initially, and that's probably what fueled Afton's insanity, losing his child. And like he at first was meant to be sympathetic, but then kind of went unhinged with the idea of putting his children back together.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I wasn't like a major theorist or whatnot, so I wasn't thinking about it too closely. But it was Elizabeth dies first, and then Crying Child will be after, and that's why the bedroom is empty in FNAF 4. FNAF, and at the time, I was also believing that Michael gets scooped before FNAF 2 and FNAF 1, so I had sister location just really early in general.
Yeah, and I feel like that might be something that's still kind of prevalent, but yeah, I feel like...
Yeah, so that's what it was at the time, and then we basically got to FNAF 3, general story, Michael's there, FNAF 6, Henry comes back, and everything burns. But what did eventually change that for me was the whole Molten MCI thing of like, okay, I think that the endos get stolen in the FNAF 3 minigames, and those events don't happen until like years after FNAF 2, so that's what eventually made me change.
Yeah, I can see that. But I feel like, yeah, overall FNAF 6, most of the lore was quite obvious because it was being told to us. Like, Charlie, this was my daughter, she was the puppet, she's led the spirits, it's time for her to die. You know, everyone dies, you, Afton, you suck, die, kind of thing.
You suck, die.
You suck, die. What is the game lore now? So, what do you think is the lore now? Do you think a lot of it has changed? Do you think it's mostly consistent?
My general flow for the lore at this point is William and Henry have Fredbears, and Crying Child gets bitten. And here's my deviation. So, Midnight Motorist really alters everything. If what I'm saying is true.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to do with the FNAF 4 Empty Girls room.
Yeah, that's...
So,
yeah.
Have you heard the theory that the park girl with the toys, with like the toy action figures, that is the sister?
Oh, I hadn't, but I can see that making sense. Definitely like the eye color.
So how... the eye color, sure, but also she does have a bow tie in her hair.
Oh.
I believe. Let me double check that.
I'll put like an image up here. Magic editing effects. Woo.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah, she has a bow in her hair. But also, if you think about it, it's okay. In the Empty Girls room, there is a Mangle toy. There's like this taken apart Mangle.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the park, the girl has a Toy Bonnie, a specifically Toy Chica, and Toy Freddy.
But not
That's the complete set.
Mangle. Oh.
And she's also like one of the girls. She's one of the people in the town that's like not being mean to Crying Child.
Yes.
And isn't like, oh, I'll see you at the party. It's also directly outside of the house, outside, like below the Empty Girls room, as far as like the screens go.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you're right. Actually, it's a very good point.
So basically, how I got to this was like, okay, I watched FNAFology's video on like FNAF 4 not being real.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me think about the Playground Girl thing, because I remember I'd heard about that as an idea from somewhere. And then I remembered, oh yeah, Sire Squawks did a video, and he talked about that as a potential theory that might have been retconned.
Yeah.
But the thing is, my strong belief is the retcon is William's conviction. I've believed it's like, okay, William, I think in the first game, when that first game came out, the killer was caught, and that was it.
Yeah,
I think that was
it was
changed.
over.
It was FNAF 1. And I think that was the one retcon from like FNAF 1 through 5. 6 changes more things, but Scott made his retcon post before FNAF 6 came out.
Yeah.
That everyone forgets about. But so yeah, Sire Squawks mentioned that. It's like, okay, I think that could be true. And so I was like, okay, let me just Google, found on Reddit, somebody made a post about the park girl being Elizabeth. And then in the comments to that post, somebody made a link to Dual Process's video, where they also say that they believed that Elizabeth is the couch person in Midnight Motorist.
Oh. I don't know. I feel like they're quite big.
I heard that, and I was just like, I've always rejected the idea because, like, yeah, Elizabeth would, but look at the model of the couch person in Midnight Motorist. You got the yellow guy, orange guy, whatever you want to call him. He's a solid color. You got the green guy outside the bar or whatever that is. He's a solid color. The person on the couch is 2 colors. It's a small, like, kind of pinkish body, and then a gray, like, thing. And it's like, okay, little body, blanket.
Oh, I could see that, because I feel like we only see... And there's, like, a table there. It's kind of... That's the only thing with minigames is it's kind of hard to see. I'll just copy-paste this image. It's not a good image, but it has a good point.
Well,
I'm sending.
It's funny, because I had heard... I think I'd actually watched their video before, but I just did not pay that any mind, because I just completely put it out as a possibility. But I was going down this path, and this is why I love the FNAF community, because I started off on a completely different video, and it made me think of something else, which led me to something else, which led me to something else.
That's how theories always work, just boom, 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 all of a sudden.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, let's just play it out in my head. What if we have a timeline here? We have the FNAF 4 minigames, where Elizabeth is alive and is at the park. Crying Child dies first. They move to a new house. We have Midnight Motorist. Michael easily shifts to being the runaway here. And then Elizabeth is in the chair. And if we say this is like between FNAF 4 minigames and Elizabeth's death, or like before the MCI, she would be old enough to be able to talk, because we hear her in Sister Location, demanding things of her dad.
She does speak quite well.
Play with her.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I just, in my head, like, try to picture it, Daddy, she's so pretty and shiny. Didn't you make her just for me? Let me play with her. And then I can imagine William coming home and her saying, just like, look at the line in Midnight Motorist where it says, leave him alone today, he had a rough day. Just put Daddy at the beginning of that. Daddy, leave him alone tonight, he had a rough day. It flows nicely in my head.
Yeah, I feel like I can see it.
Say, where she would be asking William of things.
Yeah.
So it's okay. So let's go that timeline. Elizabeth is at the couch watching TV. Michael is the runaway. He would be running to. And that's my thing. It's like, okay, there are mysteries presented in this game. I typically believe with most FNAF games that the mysteries presented in the game can be answered within the game, unless it's specifically meant to set up something else for later. I think within this minigame, where is the only place that we don't see unless we deviate is the mound. I think the mound has to be whatever this place is that the person's running off to. So the mound becomes Crying Child. The footprints, I believe, can either be a projection from Crying Child, either as a Fredbear Golden Freddy sort of thing, or it's another explanation for Shadow Freddy.
I feel like I do like the kind of thing is, so Crying Child was Golden Freddy overall, right? I think that was the general decision. Or was it?
Yeah. I mean, I in my head, I'm able to differentiate it as like Crying Child is the more Fredbear, and then Cassidy would be the more Golden Freddy.
Yeah. So I definitely could see the projection coming through. The only thing is, with that golden suit, it can't step. So I definitely think it'd be more Shadow Freddy. But I can also... Yeah. I mean, it would make sense how Michael survives Sister Location. Like, he's seeing all this going on, and he's already seen some kind of, like, projection. But the only thing I would say is, I feel like you have to kind of compare the language from Sister Location too, because obviously Elizabeth is a very posh British girl. I feel like she does have that formalness, but the only thing that I'd potentially debate is it sounds a bit too formal. Like,
that is...
Yeah.
But this is what I mentioned earlier, is this is a capstone to the original, like, run of games, sure. But it is also acting as a sequel to Sister Location, where Elizabeth was a primary focus. And if you look at all the lore minigames, Elizabeth doesn't have a place in any of these unless you slot her in here.
That's a good point, yeah.
And like I've brought this up a few times with a few other people, and they all, say I'm insane, but
no, I can definitely see it.
But yeah, so that would be where this minigame slots in, and it would be directly after Charlie is killed by William because he's like, Henry has such a good life. He doesn't have any dead kids. I'm gonna even the odds, shank shank.
He should lose a kid, then we're even.
Exactly, even though I have 2 other ones. Henry can go make more, whatever. Literally, robots. But
yeah, I mean, yeah.
and this is not factoring in Secret of the Mimic, like, at all. Even, honestly, that kind of slots in pretty cleanly, just, like, before everything. That's just the explanation of how he gets, like, his underground facility, and things like that. He's able to retrofit all that. But I think that... Okay, I guess we can talk about it. The parachute ending, I believe, is probably the canon one at the end of Secret of the Mimic. And then William is able to build his house there, and that would be the Midnight Motorist house.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, because thing is, when I remember one moment when I was playing Secret of the Mimic and I saw Edwin's house in the horizon, I first thought it was William's. It's so clearly that location. It's identical to the one from Help Wanted. Even the tree next to it, like, my first thought was that is William's house, and I think that's definitely, like, I know there's debate, but I 100% think that's where the house was built. It's very, even the silhouette is kind of similar. He probably stole, like, the same design ideas, even, like, the room with the closet sitting forward. It feels very, very clearly there.
Yeah. So you have all that, you know, I think William sees the puppet is possessed, gets inspiration, retrofits the underground, like, tunnel system or whatever from MCM into his testing rooms for the, you know, FNAF 4 bedroom, even potentially a fake town, all that stuff. And then he builds the fun times to capture kids. Thing is, he's not particularly good at making things, so it accidentally captures Elizabeth and kills her.
Yeah.
They weren't meant to kill, they were just capture.
Just went...
So then William's like, okay, screw it, this didn't work, I just have to do it myself, get the MCI. William gets arrested, but let go, he goes off, maybe comes back with a fake name for FNAF 2. More kids maybe die. Puppet is activated again, because William is like, oh, I don't know if I think he kills the DCI kids to try to trigger a reaction from the animatronics to see if they're possessed. And it works. He runs off with knowledge. And I think around this time, Michael is starting to figure out what's going on with William.
Yeah, I kind of get an idea of it.
Yeah, we get to, like, the Follow Me mini games, where William is like, okay, these animatronics are possessed. And this is, like, after FNAF 1 has already happened. Not much really happens there.
Yeah. Kind of like... William's
like, okay, these animatronics are possessed. I have the ability to sneak in real quick and take their endoskeletons, melt them down. And he gets most of them, besides Golden Freddy. Just because they're kind of supernatural and weird and teleport around. But...
Superpowers!
Yeah, but he melts them down in an automated system in Sister Location. And we know it can be, like, automated. There's automated things going on there all the time that technicians talk about it. So he's able to just throw the endos down there, and it's alright, cool. He gets cornered, gets spring-trapped, and Golden Freddy follows the other MCI spirits to Sister Location, and that's how we get Yendo.
Okay.
So,
I feel like that's...
Michael...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I feel like that's the only... I feel like so far it's really, really consistent. I like where you're going with this, but the only one I would kind of potentially reconsider is the Yendo, because the Yendo very much feels like it's a Sister Location design, whereas Golden Freddy looks like he's a Henry design. So that's the only kind of, like, thing
so
that
my explanation for Golden Freddy's design choices is, I think that Golden Freddy... I think in FNAF 2, Afton might actually kill the DCI kids with the Golden Freddy suit, with the Fredbear suit. Because at that point, the Spring Bonnie suit would have been sealed away post the MCI, so he doesn't have access to it.
That's a good point, yeah. That's like I remember Matt Pat saying at the time it was quite a general belief that you couldn't get to the Spring Bonnie suit anymore.
So, but I think after that, I think Golden Freddy's endoskeleton, or like his suit might have been taken by William, and that would have been the first thing he actually melted down even before Follow Me.
Yeah.
So at this point, the physical Golden Freddy suit would be out of the picture. So Golden Freddy, though, would want the spirit, whoever, Cassidy, whoever, stays with the MCI. And so at that point, that's why in FNAF 1, they are just a recolor of Freddy. They just take whatever form of Freddy is available at the time and just twist it for themselves. So you have a golden reflection of Freddy, a golden Freddy. So that would be why Yendo looks like the other Fun Times, is because, it's just adapting to whatever they look like at the time.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah. Okay, I'm following you. Yeah, continue.
Okay. So yeah, then from there, it's honestly kind of just, you just follow the trend of, okay, Mike goes to this location, Baby thinks that Michael is William, and Scoop, fun walk downtown, okay, throw up spaghetti, mom spaghetti, Eminem.
Yeah, and then kind of like the events
whoever you think.
Yeah.
Whoever you think is the FNAF 3 player, Hudson or Mike, it don't matter. Place burns down. Ultimately, everyone meets up again in FNAF 6, and it all goes kaboom.
Fire.
A big does a big action set piece happen with the giant like trash monster Afton at a lake? Who knows? After that, and that's basically it.
Yeah, the kind of lore. I can definitely see that. I just feel quite consistent. Yeah, I like that theory.
I think the Elizabeth Midnight Motorist thing, like having her in the chair, cleans up a lot of the timeline, especially if you think that Elizabeth is also the park person. It firmly establishes a timeline of like, okay, the Edwin house was there, it burned down, Afton already owns the land, but he's living in this other house. His child died, so they move.
Yeah. I mean, as well...
you
go.
Yeah, it just makes it clean. Yeah.
I mean, you can kind of see as well, if you look at the pixel art, you could almost say that the bottom bit isn't anyone's legs, it's just a table, because there is an odd line there. So...
table or hanging, blanket of some sort.
Yeah.
But and somebody else pointed this out on, I have to find the Reddit post and send it to you, but like they pointed out this really nice through line to kind of explain why Elizabeth would be sitting in front of the chair. In FNAF World, you can get like a happiest day screen when you drown yourself in the lake.
Yeah.
You go down and you have the three figures sitting watching TV.
Yeah.
Well, sure, everyone associates Mike with watching TV in Sister Location, but Crying Child also watched TV in FNAF 4.
That's a good point.
So this would be the third Afton child watching TV, having all of them watch TV, and then their happiest day afterlife would be that screen in FNAF World.
I can see that. I get that. Yeah. I mean, I think as well, as we were discussing retcons earlier, I think what kind of would work with your theory as well is I think Scott's retcon was that the Sister Location basement was meant to have people actually in it, rather than just be an experiment place, because obviously at the start it's like, oh, we're getting ready to open, we're going to let people in, but it doesn't make sense if it's a basement, and also if it's obviously Edwin Murray's kind of tunnels, you're not going to have people down there, you're not going to have children down there. So it definitely feels like it was meant to be more like Twisted One style, which really freaks me out how they kind of like bury you alive and stuff. No, that was a theory of it. Yeah.
You just said something there that made me even think about it. Nobody ever talks about the fact that Sister Location as a facility actually has like workers and is meant to have, seems to have like need people down there.
Yeah.
It's like meant to be an actual business, and not just a secret test facility. And I think that works even better if you think that William used Edwin's like underground like tunnels and things and retrofitted it.
Yeah.
Because that was also meant to actually be like a thing where you can show what's going on and stuff.
Yeah. I feel like kind of, because I feel like depending where you were in Edwin's tunnels, they were meant to have workmen, but not necessarily people down there. Because I know you
Yeah.
were saying like FNAF 1 retcon is getting arrested, but I can definitely see William being arrested because he was never prosecuted. It said that the
Well,
killer was caught but never like
yeah.
sentenced.
I think the retcon was that he was captured, or he was arrested, but I think the retcon is that he was released.
Yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily say that's a retcon because it never explicitly says that he was convicted for it. So
Well,
yeah.
in FNAF 1, they did say that.
Oh, they got like actually arrested, like prosecuted
Yeah,
for it.
they say suspect convicted.
Oh, never mind. Well, I feel like that is quite odd then, because it's just the whole idea of having Sister Location as a place for performances. It felt more like a rental, if anything, than an actual party world. It was just like kind of like Edwin's was.
Well, yeah, that's I think Circus Baby's Circus Baby's Party World was an above ground surface like location. I don't think we've actually seen that building ever.
Yeah.
Kind of like Chica's Party World, like we've never really seen it. But we know it existed. And the sister location facility is Circus Baby's entertainment and rental. So it is a different business.
Yeah.
So that is a rental business, kind of like Edwin's. There you go. Huh.
William being a thief? Who knew? Who knew?
Who knew?
No one could have guessed.
Even children and robots.
How will this affect the future of the games? I feel like a lot of the stuff is affecting the future of the games in that specifically, like, for example, FNAF 4 has been kind of changed, the protagonist, for example, but do you think FNAF 6 specifically is going to affect the future of the games because some of the lore maybe has changed or isn't what we thought it was before?
I think, depending on how 5 Laps at Freddy's turns out, Midnight Motorist might make a return, honestly, in as far as like the Edwin story.
Yeah.
I think they're really hammering home like, hey, no, this is all connected, especially in Ruin and things like. It's just building stacked on top of building stacked on top of it's.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna reveal like, hey, this is all pretty much like within the same area.
I personally think we're gonna get a secret in the Mimic DLC because we're definitely still missing big puzzle pieces here. Like, for example, you know, how is Mimic mimicking Afton? Because there is the argument that Mimic is copying the games that are stated to exist in Help Wanted, but that doesn't quite make sense because he wouldn't know details down to how the family members looked. Like, that wouldn't have been in the games. So I think there very much is something missing here. Like, how did the Mimic learn about William? How did it learn about Henry, potentially? Like, I think that's what Secret Mimic DLC will be, is how this connection formed, where it got its information from, and how it even learned about William's family, for example.
That's the thing, is like, we know Fazbear got the Mimic stuff at some point. But like, none of those endings have that.
Yeah. I mean, he's currently free roaming, so how did he get down there is the other thing.
Yeah, that'd be kind of an interesting DLC. I mean, I don't think they'd ever do it, but you play as Mimic free roaming until Afton captures you or something.
I think we're gonna either play as William, Henry, or Edwin. William, Henry, or Edwin, because everyone's kind of like complaining that we didn't get enough Fazbear entertainment, but I would argue we got the right amount because it's definitely setting up something else to do with Fazbear. Because Edwin's, like, what happened with Edwin is entirely to do with Fazbear. You just have to understand how, and that's the big thing.
I do hope Edwin is not actually dead. I would like for him to come back as, you know, old man Edwin in like the modern games. I think that would be really cool.
So we're actually discussing this last episode I don't think he's dead. Like, someone was saying It was either Striker or Alpine, but someone was saying that they believe that Mimic ripped Edwin's legs off. I don't believe so. I think it was an explosion, and I think Edwin got paralyzed because he couldn't feel his legs, but I sincerely doubt he's actually dead, because if it is just his legs being paralyzed, it doesn't necessarily have to be that severe damage to have that. All you have to do is knock out a bit of the spine. So I think I don't know if Edwin's necessarily alive now, but I 100% think he survived like further down the line, so that in after security breach ruin we're going to get like some tapes, or we're going to get a message from him. Like, he's not gone from the narrative, and I would be sincerely surprised if that was actually the end of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be a little disappointed if he was like actually dead.
It feels intentional though that they didn't show him dying. Like, he maybe passed out. We just heard the M2. Like, Arnold, I think, is definitely dead in Parachute, but I think he might have some family or something that's linked into the current lore. Like, I know the common theory is that he's linked in with Cassie, but I just feel like there's so much more for Edwin to have done. I don't think he would have just died like that. It feels too odd. I like, even if... Yeah.
No. Arnold's a goner.
He's gone. He's the biggest victim.
Yeah, there was no surviving outcome for that.
I mean, even his arm looked like it was the wrong way around. Like, he's not getting out of that. Gush about the game. What do you like about the game? For this last segment, we kind of just talk about what you enjoyed, why you think it was so good, anything you'd like to complain about as well was a big thing. And so the floor is open.
Both this game and Sister Location like have some of my favorite line deliveries. I think Hand Unit in this game in particular is really, really funny. My dad is a big he is a safety guy. His job involves OSHA and stuff all the time, and I just played him the intro to the game. And he was dying laughing.
It's so good, honestly. Even the helpy sections when he's trying to get in the ball pit and then he just falls on the floor with a crack, the music stops and he just lays there for a good few seconds. It's so good. Yes. It's so funny.
This game is definitely like the best blend of comedy. It's like just the right amount of like lightheartedness, and then you get your really cool like Henry speech moment. But also, just gameplay-wise, this game has an interesting, like, I think my favorite gameplay loop out of the original games is probably FNAF 4. I think that one has, like, the strongest.
Love FNAF
of, like,
4.
FNAF 4 is really, really good and solid. But this one has that thing of, I still am not sure half the time what to properly do.
Yeah.
But the night section is good, because you can take as long as you need. There is no, there is, but also that's like a negative too, is, oh yeah, you can take as long as you need, but also you're going to be here for a long time.
Yeah, it's like you're stuck there, like, good luck. Very rage baiting.
You have to actively commit to, and whatever you commit to will cause, a jump scare to happen, or you'll get through the night. You are committing to whatever happens next to you.
I think that's what makes it scarier as well, because you've not got a deadline. It's, you have to survive until this is done. You're not getting out earlier, you're not getting out. And also, it's completely down to you as well. If you're taking people in, if you're taking ads, and like, if you want to get that good ending, you have to take the sponsorships, because otherwise you can't afford characters like Security Puppet. So it's a really difficult one, I'd say, but a really good one.
It depends on, like, I was able to avoid a lot of sponsorships by playing the basketball minigame. If you can get 20 on that a good few times, you're set. The mini games are, a lot of the mini games are really well designed too. The space one where you're like flying around in the pod, that one's good at rage baiting you.
Oh
yeah, like that's the thing. It's like even a lot of these mini games, like Fruity Maze is genuinely. And like Midnight Motorist, despite them being lore mini games that you're gonna have to beat in order to get an ending, they're genuinely fun too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like I'll just play Midnight Motorist as much as I want because it's a fun little racing thing.
And I think very much FNAF. What I love about this game is because we were discussing FNAF World, and that FNAF World was definitely something Scott wanted to make and enjoyed making, and it got such a bad reception to it that it feels like this game is such a good balance of it because it's sticking with the horror, which people like, but it's allowed to have these mini games, this humor in it, and it feels like he genuinely can enjoy what he's doing, because FNAF World definitely felt like his stage of burning out, of like wanting to share his passion. Like Chippers was like, he enjoyed making that, and just being able to add that extra, have him enjoy what he's doing and have people enjoy playing what he's doing as well and enjoy his comedy. I bet that was really good, felt really good for Scott overall.
Yeah, I mean, he kept this game a secret for like a year, and he didn't have any pressure or whatever. Like,
yeah.
It is FNAF 6, like, it's not my favorite game out of the whole series, and I think it has some like weak, like I think the jump scares are probably the weakest out of the original 6 games. But also there's something that I can't even like put to words. It's just unique with it.
Yeah.
Everything from like the release of it to the awesome ending, and I really enjoy the night sections because I get uncomfortable while playing them. It's like this one and FNAF 4, and I think Secret of the Mimic and the VR games are really the only ones that actually scare me at this point.
Yeah. I feel like
the other ones are just like,
sorry,
yeah, the other ones I'm just like, okay, I can play through and it's fine. Like FNAF 2 just makes me angry.
Rage bait.
Yeah, I 1020 mode. I've beaten, no, humble brag. I've beaten that one twice, and I never want to play it again.
I think FNAF 6 is probably the most unique in setting it up as well, because you do not know what you're going into. Because you start off thinking, oh, it's just a troll game, it was just a game released for the silliness of it. And the pizza game corrupts, and it's like, oh, okay. And then you just have baby in your face. That's like, oh my god. Like, Matt Pat's reaction is my favorite to this, because he's like, oh my god, okay, there's baby there. And then he just starts absolutely pissing himself because it's now this really cutesy pizzeria thing. And then you're in an office, like so much happens and you're not expecting any of it. And I think that's the real charm of the game. It's just so unique and so like unexpected.
But it kind of avoids the problem of the last few games. Like especially, like I love Sister Location, like from a tone and atmosphere. Like Sister Location is awesome. But on replay, and if you've played it recently, unless you've taken like a year or whatever, taken a break from it for like a few years and haven't replayed it, it is so boring.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're not doing much for a while in that game.
It's very linear.
Very, very linear to a fault.
Yeah.
Well, this one avoids that problem, while also avoids it feeling too repetitive. It is it's not even a gameplay loop per se. Like I prefer like a tight loop like FNAF 4, but this one is unique and different, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think I think FNAF 6 is arguably my favorite because I've always been massively for the lore. Like I still remember like explaining to my grandparents and trying to like subtly avoid the fact there's like, oh yeah, and there's these 2 founders and there's dead kids and there's this, and it's kind of like there's something. So I've always loved the lore. So I think FNAF 6 is very, very close to me. I think probably my favorite out of all of the games because it's such an amazing conclusion. And I remember the effect on me when I was younger, seeing all this and Matt Pat's reaction and Markiplier's reaction, everyone just being like, oh my god, this is amazing. That one ending is just, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, gosh. I mean, there's also something just really... Everyone talks about the Henry speech, but I'm more moved by the gravestone scene at the end.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it's just calm and peaceful and, like, chitter chatter, like, spring, basically. And it's like, it's the sense of, like, relief.
Yeah. The idea that the spirits are set to rest as well, like it's been so, like the flowers are growing on the grave because there's been enough time there for there to be flowers for the children to finally be at rest. And it's very like, emotional to have it so still after, especially following something like the speech, going on to see just the souls being at rest and reminding what the whole series was about in the first place, was these 5 children being killed in a horrific way. It was very, like, as you said, very powerful.
I like the new era of games and where they've gone. Really, they've definitely drawn a hard line of no, whatever, despite what other people say. It's like, no, the old problem is dealt with. This is a new issue that, it may be from the past, but never was an issue until now.
Yeah.
And it's like not very often related, despite, some of the iconography and the MCI aren't really a factor at this point.
Yeah, I think that's what I like about the new games, and what a lot of people seem to forget when they're hating, saying, oh, this isn't FNAF. Ever since AR, it's a whole new era. It's not the same storyline. The 5 MCI are at rest now. This is a whole new thing. It's the whole humanity versus AI, kind of humanity corrupt things. I've talked about this a lot, but it's such a big... People need to remember these are whole different storylines. The one was about, like, a man being corrupt and failing. The other one is about a man at the edge of his limits, and can AI really be evil? Because in this situation, the mimic, like, does it have consciousness? Does it feel pain? It's like a whole different thing.
Have you ever seen... This might come off like a tangent. Have you ever seen Tron Legacy?
I've seen the first kind of, like, half hour of it, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Well, like, the main antagonist of the movie is a program called Clue. And it's basically a copy of Jeff Bridges' character in the movie. And it's a copy of this person frozen at a moment in time, and it's told, hey, you're going to make the perfect system, and you're going to, make this world perfect and all this stuff. And so this effectively, essentially like AI on its own, decides on its own, hey, whatever you're doing is not meeting my goals. So he betrays him and turns evil, becomes the bad guy.
Yeah.
So later, when Jeff Bridges' character, his son, shows up in the world, and they're talking, it's like, oh yeah, everything was great until Clue screwed it up. And Jeff Bridges just has this line where he says, that's the thing, is like, he didn't screw it up. Like, Clue is me. I screwed it up.
Yeah. And that's the big thing.
The thing, is like, is the mimic evil, or is it just, no, this is what it was taught? Is it at fault?
And I definitely think...
And there's a scene at the end. Yeah. There's a scene at the end where it's just like, Clue is talking to the Jeff Bridges character, and he's like saying, hey, you betrayed me. I was given this objective you wouldn't let me fulfill. I was doing my job. You were the one that turned your back on me. And that's kind of the Edwin mimic dynamic.
Yeah. Very much so. I mean, when you look at, like, Ruin, one thing that you can notice is Mimic has still got his hand where he would be holding Tiger Rock. And at the end of the day, like, he was innocent. He wasn't ever evil off the start. He still carries the child he still carries what would be Tiger Rock, because at the end of the day, he's a product of what he's learned. Even after all this murder, he first started imitating a child. That was where he came from. That is what he's become. And at the end of the day, it's debatable how much was his fault, because he was raised and beaten and, like, attacked to become this creature. Like, it's not necessarily Mimic's fault. It's the humanity that it taught it. Like, the world will be corrupt because that's what we show it.
That the Mimic is effectively an abused child.
Yeah.
And it's lashing out, and it is fascinating.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've really enjoyed, like, just kind of experiencing this new era of games as a fan that doesn't theorize too much about it unless it's tying into the original games, because I still like just kind of like theorizing about the old games more than the new ones, just because I enjoy looking at these new ones more as like a general fan who's like, oh yeah, that's cool.
And thing is, as well, the way the games are going is we are being fed info at a time. Unlike the original games, which is just all over the place, there is such a clear narrative from AR onwards. Apart from Security Breach, which is a whole nother issue, which it wasn't still Wolf's fault, but like the whole kind of storyline is so linear, and we don't know a lot of information at the moment because we're not meant to know it. And we're getting bits and pieces, and overall it's so well constructed, and it's really disappointing that people won't give it a chance because it's not classic FNAF.
Well, that's like, even Markiplier talked about it, but he didn't. That's, people are misconstruing what he was saying. Where he was saying, like, you know, hey, this is still good. He really likes the game. It is just, it's not classic FNAF anymore. It's different, and he misses that, and that's totally valid.
Yeah.
Like, I am so nostalgic for like the FNAF 2 to Sister Locate. I remember being in class, you know, middle school, and someone tapped me on the shoulder, was like, hey, Scott posted a new teaser on his website. It's like, what? And I open it up, and it's the, you know, Sister Location. There was never just one, and like, who is this like clown girl?
Yeah.
And there is that. I wish they would utilize that Twitter account that they have for teasers and stuff.
That actually unlocked a memory from me. So, someone who I'm not friends with anymore, but I made one of my first friends in secondary school because I pretended I made part of the games, and Scott just didn't give me credit. That's literally how I made a friend at the time, and it was just
the hoax era.
The hoax era. Oh yeah, the hoax era. I even pretended Sister Location. I was like, oh no, the way their face is opening, that's actually a glitch that I designed, and Scott didn't ask if he could use it. But it was kind of just like, I feel like even now I've made so many friends through FNAF. It's such, it's different. I mean, even things like MatPat retiring and FNAF changing, that whole kind of thing is showing it's changing in the era. And whilst I still love what we get, I still miss, you know, rushing home so I can watch Dorco like churn out the brand new game, or watch MatPat play the game over and over. It's just very different. But as Mark said as well in the earlier part of the game, I know I'm bashing a lot, but this is actually really good. You can see they've made so much progress, and I think a lot of people should see that.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's like, nostalgia is interesting because it's reminiscing on like something you used to love, and sometimes that can hurt because it's, you know, it's not that anymore. But it is important to acknowledge, like, hey, it's still good now.
Yeah.
It's almost like grieving. It's straight. Nostalgia and grieving aren't too dissimilar.
It's, yeah, I completely agree. It's like, because you're not just mourning the loss of that game in the past, it's the fact that obviously when we saw it, because we've been watching for such a long time, we've kind of grown up with it, that the new generation doesn't have, because we're not just mourning the games that we're mourning the kind of person we were then, being able to go rush home and watch the new game, see the clips, get hyped for everything, with Scott being so present, and we're missing the era of our lives as well, which isn't a bad thing, but it is a bad thing when it starts to block you seeing what other good things there are as well.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's just like, it's tied into like life experience. Yeah, because you mentioned, like, we are different people entirely. I mean, I was just entering middle school, like, when I got into it, and now I'm, as of today. Oh yeah, it's my birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday!
Thank you. I'm 22 years old, and I have a job, and I've moved out of the house, and all this stuff. But I'm still, you know, into the Scary Bear game that I was into when I was like a little dumb kid in middle school.
Yeah, it's such a nice sentiment though, like having something that has been consistent, having FNAF be there the whole time, because it's one thing that has been consistent, and that's what upset me so much when MatPat retired, because it was something consistent no matter when I went to uni. And I remember, like, I just started crying when MatPat retired, because it was just the end of an era. And I feel like that's why so many FNAF fans aren't willing to give the new era a try, because they can't accept the old era. It's gone, it's happened, it's, you know, the past is the past. I appreciate what we have now rather than keep looking back and being so salty, that because no matter what is made these days, like even like the whole concept of just click and point horror games that was FNAF 1, it wouldn't be as scary if it was made now. And that's just how it is.
It is kind of, I think this applies to a lot of fandoms, not even just FNAF, where it's like, also just us being in the internet era, which, and if we weren't, then FNAF wouldn't be what it was. But I mean, if you look at things like, you know, Marvel, DC, Star Wars, everything for like fan bases, it's people growing up and having this like online, able to get their opinions out there, talk to other people, have these opinions, and not understanding how to adapt to the now and still wanting everything to be the same forever.
But yeah.
I had a point. You can scrub that.
No.
I had a point where I was going there and I lost the train of thought.
I get where you're coming. I get where you're coming from. I feel like a good message to end this on before the outro is just appreciate the future as well. For like, not just for FNAF, for other games, for other series. It was good then. You know, your life was different then, but your life can be good now. Your games can be good now. You can enjoy content now. There's new FNAF stuff. It's fun. Just enjoy it. Do you have any other?
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to 5 Laps at Freddy's. They better make that thing multiplayer.
It better be. And that's it today for the Fazlore Podcast. Special thanks to our lovely guest.
Hello.
It's okay. So where can we find you? What are your socials?
So I have my channel. It's MrDeskFan. It actually pops up if you search it in the YouTube page now, so that's pretty cool. I do also have a Twitter, but I understand if y'all want to avoid that place because it's kind of terrible.
Cesspit.
Yeah, but it's also, my name's MrDeskFan on there, but it's at EnforcerDud1. Enforcer DUD1. But yeah, subscribe, follow. It's my birthday, so you better do it or I'll find you.
Do it. All right, and then that'll be us signing off, and see you later.
Hi, y'all. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Subscribe to her.
Thank you. Subscribe to him for his birthday. Hi there, PNG Win here. A reminder, all profits from this series goes towards Dorco's London Marathon 2026 fundraiser, in which he is raising funds for Samaritans, a charity for people who are struggling with their mental health, offering support lines and services so nobody is ever alone. It's a wonderful cause, so please consider donating with the link in my bio or scanning this QR code. Thank you.